Greetings gentlemen, welcome back to another Naruto fanfiction video. Today's video is what if Naruto got sent to prison by Hiruzen and went insane part 3. Before the video starts, hit that like button and subscribe so I can continue making these videos. Click that bell icon so you never miss a future video. Without further ado, enjoy the video as always. Yuhi Kurenai was a beautiful woman. No one could or would argue with that. She was an average height at 5 feet 6, with long brown hair that cascaded down her back and a wonderful figure that was the envy of almost every woman in Konoha. Her clothes were made of what appeared to be bandages, with one red sleeve, white shorts and a mesh undershirt. She wore almost no makeup, just some red lipstick and blue eyeshadow, and with her exotic red eyes she was without a doubt one of the most beautiful ninja in the village. She was also very nervous. Even if the Hokage had assured her that he was somewhat safe to be around, she was still nervous. Flashback 5 hours earlier. Hokage-sama, you can't be serious. That boy is dangerous. Kurenai had an incredulous look on her face. Maybe the old man's age was finally catching up to him. They were currently in the Hokage office and he had just told her that Naruto would be on her genin team. She knew of the boy, hell everyone knew of him. She didn't blame him for being the Kyuubi container. If anything, she felt sorry for him. But he was put in the school for a reason. Kurenai, calm down. I know what I am doing. Do you think that I would put your other students at risk? Despite what many think, he is not as dangerous as the villagers would like you to believe. With all due respect, he was put in the school for a reason. Hokage-sama, he killed innocent people. How could you say he is not as dangerous as they say? Sarutobi looked at her for a long minute before he sighed. Kurenai, I'm disappointed in you. Those words shocked her. But before she could say anything, he continued, as a ninja you should always look underneath the underneath, and as an intelligence gatherer you should know better than to listen to hearsay from a group of bitter villagers. Did it ever occur to you that if those villagers were innocent that Naruto would have been put to death? Kurenai's eyes widened at the implications. But, if that's true, I don't understand. I thought you put him in the school because he was dangerous. I did. But at the time there were too many holes, too many things that didn't add up, so I looked into it further. It turns out that Naruto, in the few weeks leading up to him being put in the school, never technically did anything wrong. Kurenai was about to object to this, but again the Hokage continued before she could. In the case of Miss Hiruno, self-defense, there was never any doubt about that, but the others... Here Sarutobi took out his pipe and lit it, taking a deep breath before he continued. The three men, self-defense, turns out they were drunk and attacked him. The two men in the alley, it was later found out that they had been attempting to rape a young girl. Naruto stopped them. The orphanage's care workers, we found out they were selling children into slavery outside the village. Every one of the people Naruto killed was later found to have either attacked him first or found guilty of crimes. Kurenai didn't know what to say. How could she have been pulled in by the villagers so easily? She prided herself on her ninja skills, but this was a huge mistake on her part. But then something occurred to her. But Hokage-sama, if this is true, then why was he kept in the school? Surely he should have been released when this was found out. Why did you leave him there? At this question the Hokage got a sad look in his eyes. Because he asked me to. Again, Kurenai was shocked. Nobody asked to be kept in the school. But, why? Sarutobi took another deep breath from his pipe before letting it out again. At that point Naruto still had some semblance of his old self. He still does, though it's buried under the insanity. In a moment of lucidity he realized what was happening to him. He could see what was happening and knew that if he didn't get away from people for a while he could lose himself completely. So he asked to be left in the school until I thought he could be trusted. I have watched him over the years, and I can honestly say that although he is the most insane fucker I know, he is also one of my most trusted people. At seeing the confused look on the young woman's face, he elaborated, "It is true that Naruto is insane, but he has still kept what makes him a good person. It is what makes him different from many that lose their minds. He has morals. They can be hard to see, but they are there. He never hurts children, scare them, yes, but never hurt them. He also has a respect for women, which all things considered is a miracle. He also will never break a promise once it has been made." Kurenai didn't know what to say. Naruto just didn't make any sense to her. However, this made her stop her train of thought. There is a problem. He can't control himself when he kills. He will make anyone that he deems worth killing go through extreme pain before he will let them die. He has been known to scare Anbu with his methods, both psychological and physical, that worried Kurenai. Anbu were trained to be fearless, to not let anything bother them, the best of the best, and they were scared of what a 12-year-old boy could do. Taking a deep breath, Kurenai asked, "Can you tell me anything about his abilities? If he is going to be on my team, I need to know what to expect." This made Sarutobi smile. He has enhanced senses, strength, reflexes, and he is able to process information at an astonishing rate. He has been out of the school for only a day and has already made his way through most of the Konoha library. This surprised Kurenai. To be able to read and understand so much information in such a short time was truly amazing. He also has a bloodline. It has been designated as shapeshifter. He is able to become almost anything. If he can picture it in his mind, he can more than likely become it. It is similar to the transformation jutsu, but unlike the transformation jutsu, he physically changes his body. The implications of this were spinning through Kurenai's head. To be able to become anything, the potential was practically limitless. However, there is a catch. The longer he uses it, the harder it is to keep it up, or in some cases, to come back. From what he has told me, he is currently able to hold a basic shift, as he called it, for 3 days, but the more complex it is, the harder it gets. This made perfect sense to Kurenai. With every bloodline there was always a weakness. She also now understood why he was on her team. With a bloodline to change into anything, he could make a great intelligent gatherer, and with his other talents, he could cover the rest of them if the need to retreat should occur. She was broken out of her thoughts when the Hokage stood up from his chair. "I'm sorry, Kurenai, but I need to go and check on him now, before he runs out of books to read and moves on to something else. I hope I can trust you to teach your future students to the best of your ability." Standing up from her chair, Kurenai did a small bow to her leader and replied, "Yes, Hokage-sama, I understand." Flashback, and she was now on her way to meet her team with the other senseis and just couldn't stop herself from feeling nervous, only for them to stop at the door when they heard the voices inside the room. They all sat in silence for a few minutes, just staring at the strange boy in front of them. He was just sitting there, looking around the room with the creepy grin on his face. Eventually Kiba, being the hyperactive loudmouth he is, took it upon himself to break it. Standing up from his seat, he made his way to the front of the room where Naruto was sat, smirking to himself, not seeing Akamaru shrinking back into his hood and shaking slightly. "So, you're the guy that's too good to go to the academy like the rest of us. You don't look so strong. I bet you don't even know any jutsu." Naruto just sat there for a moment, looking up at Kiba. Slowly, standing up, he looked Kiba in the eyes and asked, "What's a jutsu?" The other children in the room looked at Naruto incredulously. What kind of ninja didn't know what a jutsu was? Kiba started laughing and pointing at Naruto, and then so did the rest of the class. You don't even know what jutsu is, huh? Where have you been for the past few years? A mental institution for dangerously insane ninja." That turned the laughter into shocked silence. Was he serious? "What the hell? You're joking, right?" "Nope. Hey, did you know you need a bath? You smell like dog piss." This got to Kiba. Nobody embarrasses him in front of his class. What did you say? I'll fucking kill you. In his rage, Kiba charged at Naruto without thinking. But before Kiba could lay a hand on him, Naruto had his right hand on the back of Kiba's head and was slamming it into the ground, or so it seemed. Just before Kiba's face connected, it stopped. Bending down, Naruto said to him, loud enough for all to hear, I have killed people for attacking me, and the only reason I haven't killed you is because I promised the old man I wouldn't. Think yourself lucky. And with that he let Kiba fall to the ground, his grin still on his face. Kiba shuffled away as quick as possible, and then made his way back to his seat. The room was quiet again, no one knowing what to say after that. What no one expected though was for Sakura to slowly make her way over to Naruto, trying to tell her old friend to come back. When she was in front of him, she asked, You said your name was Naruto. At his nod she continued, My dad said that if I was ever to meet you to say that we are sorry for my mother's actions to you and to ask for forgiveness, but he never said why. She let the question hang, hoping he would explain. Naruto just gave her a odd look for a minute, before his grin faded into a genuine smile. Thank you, and tell your father that there is nothing to forgive. Her actions were her own, and I hold no grudge against you or your family. At hearing this, Sakura let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. As for what she did, I can honestly say that your mother made me what I am today. When he said this, his grin returned in full force. It sent a shiver up her spine, as well as all those in the room. But before anyone could comment further on this, the door opened and a group of people walked into the room. One by one they introduced themselves as the senseis and took their respective teams out of the room. Team 8, I'm your Jounin sensei, Yuhiko and I. Please follow me. With that, Shino, Hinata and Naruto followed her out of the room. They said nothing on their way to the training ground, all lost in their own thoughts. Shino and Hinata didn't know what to think of the boy. He seemed strong, but from what they had seen he was completely out of his mind. Kurenai was trying not to smile. She had heard everything that had gone on in the room and was happy to know that he didn't hold a grudge, or kill the Inuzuka boy for that matter. And Naruto was thinking, I wonder what the tree tastes like. When they had come to training ground 8, Kurenai motioned for them to sit down. When they were all seated, she spoke. Right, my name is Yuhiko and I am 24 years old and am going to be your new sensei. I specialize in ninjutsu and my dream is to prove that women can be just as good ninja as men. Now who wants to introduce themselves next? Shino raised his hand and began to speak in a monotone. My name is Aburame Shino and I am 12 years old. I specialize in my clan's jutsu and hope to prove that my clan is not weak just because we use bugs. Nodding at this, Kurenai turned to Hinata. I'm Hyuga Hinata. I am T 12 years old and ISP specialize in my CL clan's jutsu. I hope to one day you unite my clan. Hearing the stutter, Kurenai made a note to introduce the girl to Anko. If anyone could break her of it, it would be her. Turning to her last student, she was surprised to see him tuning a violin. Where the hell had he got a violin? After a minuet he seemed satisfied and spoke. My name is Uzumaki Naruto and I am 12 years old. I specialize in infiltration and torture and am currently learning several other things as well. I have nothing I wish to accomplish. At hearing that he was learning other things, Kurenai got interested. What other things are you learning? Looking back up at her from his violin, he said, well, weapon crafting, seal making, jutsu making and a few different fighting styles that I plan to merge together into my own personal style. Kurenai and the two genin didn't know what to think. Most ninja picked a specialty and stuck with it, but here was Naruto looking at several different aspects like it was nothing. While they stared at him, Naruto had started to play his violin, which, considering his hands were still covered by his sleeves, was impressive. Kurenai didn't know what he was playing. It started off slow but was slowly getting quicker. It was then that Kurenai felt it. the feeling of someone casting a jinjutsu. Naruto was channeling huge amount of chakra into the music to act as a wide-scale jinjutsu. Smiling to herself, she discreetly cancelled its effects on herself, but not the others. Naruto was doing her job for her. Her test was to see if they could detect and dispel a jinjutsu anyway, so why not let him do it? As she watched, she saw Hinata and Shino fall into some kind of trance. A few minuets later, Shino was the first to notice something was wrong, his bugs telling him that he was in a jinjutsu. Calmly putting his hand on Hinata's shoulder, he broke them both out of the jinjutsu. When she was sure they were both out of the jutsu, Kurenai said, "Good work, Shino, and well done for helping your teammate out. But I have to ask, Naruto, why did you try to put us in a jinjutsu in the first place?" When she asked this, Naruto stopped playing and looked at her strangely. "What the hell you talking about? I can't cast a jinjutsu to save my life. I've got too much chakra." This surprised Kurenai. He was right. He did have too much chakra to do jinjutsu, but she had assumed that was why he was using a violin as a catalyst. But he was doing it without even knowing it. She would have to talk to the Hokage about this. "Naruto, are you saying you didn't know you were channeling chakra through your violin while you were playing it?" "Of course I was. It's something I read in a book about chakra control. This is actually my 5th violin in the last day. They kept exploding. Had to put a reinforcement seal on this one." The casual way that he said this made her laugh, as if exploding violins were normal. Although, this was Naruto after all, who knew what went on in his head. Hinata and Shino were confused, so asked, "WWW, what do you mean, Kurenai-sensei?" "I agree, I don't understand." Turning to face the two, Kurenai said, "It's quite simple really. Naruto here was channeling chakra through his violin and it acted like a catalyst for a jinjutsu. Without knowing he was doing it, the jinjutsu acted on its own and hypnotized us." None of the genin knew what to say to that. Then Naruto started to laugh. When he had calmed down, Kurenai told them, "Now, normally this would be where I give you your true genin exam, but seeing as Naruto beat me to it, you all pass. Congratulations, you are all now official genin of Konoha. Meet me here tomorrow at 6 a.m. and we can start your training." With that, the 3 genin left to do their own things. Letting out a deep breath, Kurenai stood up and left to report to the Hokage. She never noticed that Naruto had come back to the training grounds. Walking up to the tree he had seen earlier, he pulled a branch off and bit into it. Yuck. Tastes like wood. Kurenai was at her wit's end. This was her team's 4th D rank and Naruto was driving them all crazy. Their first mission had been to paint a civilian's house. It went okay at first, but the problem came when the client's wife came home and saw Naruto. By the time her husband had calmed her down and took her into the house, nobody noticed that Naruto had painted the house bright pink instead of the white the client had supplied them with. They still didn't know where he got the damn paint. The second mission had been to weed an old lady's garden. This had gone fine until she refused to pay Naruto. While Kurenai had been arguing with her, Naruto had replaced all her plants with cannabis. And yet again, they still didn't know where he got the plants, though Kurenai was more worried at the thought of a high Naruto. The third had been to catch Tora. This had actually gone okay. Seems Naruto had a way with animals. He had been the first ever ninja to just walk up to Tora and pick him up. The problem had come when he left with the little beast for a while. Nobody knew what he did, but after the mission it became a lot harder to catch the cat when it escaped again. One genin team had claimed that they had seen him jumping through the trees like a ninja. This mission was simple: get the shopping for a woman that had broken her leg. The problem had come when she had given Naruto a dirty look. At the time the boy had just ignored her, but his team had got to know him over the past few weeks and knew he was going to do something. This was why Kurenai was watching him like a hawk. So far everything was fine. They had just gotten back to the client's house without incident and were just waiting for their pay. When the client had been paying them, she had gave Naruto another dirty look and tried to give him half what she owed him. The feeling of dread that had increased when Naruto didn't say anything, just stood there grinning. A few minutes later they had gotten the money and were on their way to report to the Hokage when they heard a scream from inside the house. Rushing back inside, they had arrived to see the woman sitting on the floor, covered in bright red paint. Naruto had somehow put a paint bomb in her shopping bags when they went looking. Letting out a deep breath, Kurenai and the other two genin started to help her off the floor and to a chair in the living room. The whole time Naruto was laughing his head off, rolling around on the floor. It took them an hour to calm her down. Now here they were stood in front of the Hokage in his office. For a full minute he said nothing, just sat there looking at Naruto with his pipe in hand. I thought we talked about this, Naruto. You can't keep attacking clients. After returning Uchiha Sasuke to the village, Naruto is attacked by an angry mob. Sick and tired of their treatment, he leaves the village behind, swearing revenge on all. Naruto just stood there, giggling. Well, technically she wasn't a client when it went off. We had finished the mission. None of them knew what to say to this. He was right. They had finished the mission. Sighing to himself, Sarutobi just waved a hand for them to leave. Whatever, I'm getting too old for this shit. Just go. With that they left to go to the training grounds. Teammate had decided to hold off on missions for a while, at least until they could stop Naruto from being, well, Naruto. Kurenai, Hinata and Shino were currently waiting for Naruto at Training Ground 8. It was one of the more secluded training grounds, with a large lake and small wooded area. It was a good place to train. Today Kurenai was planning to teach Hinata and Shino how to water walk. She would have been teaching Naruto it as well, but he was having problems with tree walking. The last time he tried, he was blown off so hard he not only broke the tree he was trying to walk on, but 3 other trees as well when he flew into them. For some reason Naruto was always a few minutes late to team training. After waiting for a little longer they decided to start without him. It was half an hour later when Naruto walked into the training grounds, a strange bundle on his back. This put them all on edge. Though Naruto had never done anything to them, they were still cautious. When he got to them he put the bundle down and waved. Hey guys, I got you something. Slowly making their way over they looked at the bundle on the floor nervously. Seeing their faces Naruto laughed. Don't worry so much, it's not going to explode. At least I don't think they will, he said with a thoughtful look on his face. This did not fill them with confidence. Reaching down and unfolding the package, Naruto took a step back and looked at them all expectantly. So, what do you think? They didn't really know what to think. On the ground before them were the most bizarre yet beautiful weapons any of them had ever seen. The first was what looked like a normal kunai knife, but when you looked closely you could see that it was a lot smaller and streamlined than most. It was also attached to some kind of leather straps by a length of ninja wire. The knife itself was also covered in strange markings that they soon realized were seals carved perfectly into the metal. The next was a long metal pipe, about 3 feet in length, with a small needle-like point. On closer inspection they realized that it was hollow and that there was a small hole in the end. This was also attached to leather straps and was covered in similar seals as the first. The last was a pair of elegant gauntlets. The metal was white and the middle finger had a sharp, pin-like point in the end. They were designed to go up to just below the elbows and had seals all over them. After a while Kurenai looked at Naruto and said, "They are beautiful, Naruto. But where did you get them and why did you bring them?" Naruto gave her one of his rare, sincere smiles when she asked that. "Well, remember when I said that I was looking into weapon making?" They all grow shocked looks on their faces when he said this. "You mean you made these?" "Yep, I made a deal with the smith in the village. I get to use his workshop and I let him look over some of my designs." Nice guy, open-minded. Naruto seemed to get lost in his own mind for a moment before he continued. Anyway, I brought them here because I made them for you guys. We've been a team for a while now and I made you these to complement your fighting styles. For example, here he bent down and picked up the kunai-like weapon and, taking on a lecturing tone that was so out of place coming from Naruto, started to explain the weapons. This is for you, sensei. It goes on your arm under your sleeve. Now I know that when you cast a genjutsu you can't move from one spot without disrupting your flow of chakra, so I made you this. By channeling your chakra through the wire into the blade at the end you can control it. It will take a lot of practice, but when you master it you should be able to cast genjutsu and kill your enemies without having to rely on someone to make the finishing blow. Kurino was speechless. Naruto had made this just for her. It was perfect. He had made her the perfect weapon after only knowing her for less than 2 months. Before she could thank him he moved on to the pipe. Now this is for Shinoen. If it works out, your family. The pipe is made from a strong metal to compensate for it being hollow, and can retract so it can't be seen. Like sensei's, it goes on your arm under your sleeve. The idea is that you can have some of your bugs fill the pipe and when you stab someone you can inject them into your opponent. I know that your clan can't fight in close combat because of your bugs, so this should help. Shino was deeply impressed with the weapon. He guessed that he shouldn't be surprised. It would take someone with a mind like Naruto's to come up with something as unorthodox as this. And last but certainly not least, this is for Hinata. Like the others, I made it to go with your family's fighting style. They are mostly designed for protection, but they can, in theory, enhance your gentle fist. By channeling chakra into the needle it can give your chakra a boost. If it works like I think it will, you will be able to actually destroy someone's chakra points. This actually shocked Hinata. Her family had been trying to improve the gentle fist for years to the point that they could destroy a person's chakra points, and here was Naruto, the most insane ninja anyone had ever known, solving what her entire clan couldn't. It was then that he explained the seals. Now as for the whole not sure of them exploding thing, the seals are your basic strengthening seals, with something of my own thrown in. Chakra channeling seals. I made them to help you channel your chakra through the middle. The only thing is I haven't, tested them. This surprised Kurenai more than the weapons. She knew that he was looking into seals, but never thought he would come so far in so little time. This is great, Naruto, but why did you go to so much trouble? Naruto just looked at each of them for a moment, then, why the hell not? And with that the serious Naruto was gone and back was random Naruto. When they had gotten up after face planting, they each thanked him and asked if he had made anything for himself. His grin took on an unnerving glint and he reached behind his back and pulled out 2 wicked-looking, miniature scythes, hidden behind his long hair. The handles looked like they fitted his hands perfectly and were wrapped in black leather. The blades themselves were stained a deep black that seemed like it didn't reflect any light, and the edge a deep, blood red, with jagged teeth instead of being straight. They had the same seals as the other weapons etched into them, but they were almost impossible to see. They actually sent shivers down their spines just looking at them. They held a terrible beauty that left no doubt that they were made to take life. These are my scythes. No one said anything for a few minuets, the blades seeming to weigh down the area with their own killing intent, which was promptly broken by Naruto falling over and laughing so hard it looked painful. When she saw he had finally calmed down, Kurenai spoke. Well, thank you, Naruto. These are all great, but I think Hinata and Shino should finish the water walking exercises before learning how to use them. The extra control will help, I'm sure. Shrugging his shoulders, Naruto just put his scythes away and ran to a tree, only to fly past them and into the water when he was blown off again. As they watched him get up and do the same thing over and over again, Shino summed up their thoughts perfectly. It's hard to tell if he is a genius or an idiot sometimes. Nodding their heads in agreement, they all turned back to the lake. their new weapons in place, and started the exercise again. Naruto's laughter echoing around the clearing as he was continually blasted off the trees. It had been a month since Team 8 had gotten their weapons, and ever since then they couldn't be any closer. Hinata and Shino had finished water walking in record time, wanting to start training with their new weapons. Kurenai was starting to get the hang of her straight shooter, as Naruto had decided to call it. She still had some work to do, but she was getting there. He didn't name the others, saying that they could do it themselves with their families. Speaking of which, both the Hyuga and Iburian clans had been very impressed with the weapons, so much so that they had requested for Naruto to make more for them. He had told them of a small ninja shop owned by a man named Higashi. It turned out this was the man Naruto had made the deal to use his workshop with. Naruto had given him the designs after he made them in case this happened, as long as he got 30% of the profits and that he tell nobody who made them. Higashi could remake and sell them to the two clans. This applied to the clans as well. When Kurenai asked why he didn't want anyone to know he made them, she could have sworn he was channeling his inner Naru when he said, "Too bloody troublesome." It turns out this was more than sufficient, as the clans were paying a small fortune for the weapons. The Hyugas had named Hinata's weapon the Hands of Kami, as they believed their eyes were a gift from Kami herself. The Iburian had been a bit more modest and named theirs Wasp Point. Higashi and his daughter were making so much money from Naruto's weapons they were thinking of expanding the shop. Naruto, after many times of being shot off the trees like a cannon, had finally got the hang of tree walking. He even managed to learn water walking. Eventually Team 8 started doing missions again. Thankfully Naruto had not done anything to the clients. Seems the word had gotten out and none dared to do anything to raise the boys' ire. They were currently stood in the Hokage office, after just returning Toro to the daimyo's wife. He was looking at their mission record to decide if they were ready for a C-rank mission. "Well, everything seems to be in order. I see no reason." Before he could finish, the doors to the office slammed open and Kiba stormed in, followed by the rest of Team 7 walked in. "Hey, Hokage-sama, can we please get a C-rank now? These D ranks are driving me Anakamaru crazy." After an apology from Kakashi for Kiba's rudeness, Team 7 noticed Team 8 stood in the room staring at them. Kakashi's eye lingered on Naruto for a moment before moving to Kurenai. "Sorry Kurenai-chan, hope we didn't disturb you." Before Kurenai could answer, she was drowned out by Naruto. "Duck ass, dog piss, Pinky, how you been?" Everyone in the room sweat dropped at this except the three genin, who were silently steaming at the names. When they had calmed down, the Hokage spoke. Well, Team 7 does have the necessary number of D ranks to take a C. How about this? I was just about to give Team 8 here a C rank. What would you say to a joint mission?" The two senseis looked at each other for a moment before nodding. "Very well, seeing as Team 8 were here first, Kurenai will be team leader. The mission is to protect a bridge builder named Tazuna while he travels to Wave Country and until he finishes his bridge. The client will be here shortly." No sooner had he said this than an old man walked into the room on unsteady feet. He had a beard, glasses and smelled like sake. He looked at the genin and scowled. "I pay good money for a ninja garden, you give me this. And what the hell is the mummy grinning at?" At these words 4 loud smacks were heard. Looking around the room, Team 7 saw the Hokage, Kurenai, Shino and Hinata with their hands on their faces, and Naruto's grin taking on a sinister edge.